So, how's it going? This will be the very first video in a video of a series of a bunch of different videos. But this build is going to be a unique build, so I figured it'd be an opportunity to show it off, kind of explain what the bar is, the thought process through the bar, and what makes these bars different from other bars. So this is a weekend bar. So one of the biggest differences you're going to see in the weekend bar is in your wiring. Your wiring, you're still going to get your power and ground just like you would in an LC bar, but you're also going to get a small communication wire instead of a giant big thing of wires that have trigger wires. So it makes running wire, I'm sorry, here's the comm wire. It makes running wire a lot easier. Also, it means that you can program stuff. This particular bar is a weekend bar with a duo rear traffic advisor. So what that means is these 6 heads right here that will be coming out, and I'll explain in a minute, are duo. So they have 2 different colors in them. So these particular heads have amber and blue, and they will go into another bar that I'll show you here in the near future. This in the front is just for me. I tried to spec out my CHP clone bar. So this is a very similar setup to how they would have it. They have a high intensity takedown, 2 warning modules on either side, then they have LR11 takedown lights. I have the brackets coming, so I can't show you those right now, but they would go here, and then your corner modules will go here. So this is a 54-inch bar, and this is going on the Rambide truck. Jeremy just got a carbide system, so this will be going on that truck. So this is the first build that I will be building for his truck. So this is a perfect opportunity to start shooting a video to show you the thought process behind it. So for Jeremy's application, he has a giant truck. So the light bar is going to be mounted pretty far forward. He has I believe it's a Ram 2500. So the light bar is going to be very far forward. So he's going to eliminate these rear modules. But we're going to leave the wiring in for the duos just in case he wants to add them back in the future. These 6 duos, along with 2 other duos that are going to be amber and red, are going to go into a 500 series traffic advisor. So he'll have the ability to run a traffic advisor in amber. Then he has duo colors in blue, and he has told me that the outer edges of red are going to be brake lights, all controlled through the carbide system. So the back of this bar is going to be blank. Where these modules will be further back in his truck. So there's no sense on putting modules back in the back because he's going to have modules in his truck. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all these modules out. I'm going to mock up where the corners are going to go. I'm going to take this really nice takedown and move it around. I don't know exactly where he wants it, but the great thing about these is they move. So these are the buckets that these 500 series go in, and they have these grooves that go into slots in the light bar here, and then they would just slide right in, and then you can take them out and move them around as needed. They also have these really nice plugs that plug into the corresponding harness within the bar. So once you plug everything in, you mount the bar up, run your wires. This one will go straight to a carbide. So in his carbide programming, he will say, I want this light and this light to flash together, alternate on this specific pattern. He can do that with each individual light head on the entire bar. With the same thing with the rear bar that's going to be on the back of the truck, as well as any other light heads he has on his truck. So the great thing about carbide and Cantrol is it synchronizes everything. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to take this out, move these around, take these out, unplug these, get these plugged in, and just mock everything up. There are spacers that are going to go between the corner modules and the first warning module. I have those out in my garage because this is a 54-inch bar. It also has dual or LR11 alley lights on either side. So to begin with, how you take this bar apart, There are, for this particular bar, there are 8 of these bolts, and they are in the end caps. There's 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top, and you take those off. Then there are also 4 of these bolts. These bolts hold the top cover on this particular bar. Since this is a newer, or this bar was made in '09, the top plate sits on top. You put these in with the corners, where the alley lights are, and that's what bolts the top plate in. And then you slide in your corner modules accordingly. For these these super takedowns, they have these nifty brackets that allows you to move them around, and then to keep them in place, they have Phillips head screws. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these out, move them around. Also, on the bar, you'll notice that there's a difference between the takedown and the warning module plugs, and that's done specifically for a reason. And Waylon, if you have a bar that's newer or cleaner inside, like this one is, a lot of the plugs are labeled. So this one says PTD, so this is passenger takedown. This says DTD, so this is driver takedown. Driver side's on the left, passenger side's on the right. On most bars, your I/O board is going to be on the passenger sides, and your cables are going to come out on your passenger side as well. You can order these bars with a driver side, but most run through the passenger side because a lot of times that's where all the equipment is ran and where all the wires are run and stored. So let's go ahead and take this out. So this bar as well is getting a brand new set of lenses. So that's a great thing with these Liberty bars, and most of the Waylon bars is you can, this plugs in there we go. You can take an older bar like this, recustomize it however you want it, and then you're able to put a new lens kit on it, and the bar looks brand new again. So this needs to go to the driver's side, so we'll slide one of these out. And I'm trying to space these up with the rear, because the rear I have not moved at all. So then we'll put 2 warning modules in to the center here. And then we'll go ahead and slide in our takedown. Slide in our warning module, and then I'm going to take my Phillips screws, and as you can see, they're off just a little bit, so I'm going to slide everything down and try to match the rear. I can't believe that's off that much. There might be just a little bit of space here. Before I'm done with this, I'll take and measure to make sure everything is aligned accordingly, but this is just to kind of spec out and reference, see the setup, and I'm a big visual person when it comes to building stuff. So these bars and the programming, it helps me to physically see a bar. So I can see the bar and I can say, okay, I want this light to do this, I want this light to do this, and I'm able to do that accordingly. So let's go ahead and slide in some corners here. Plug out the light first, there we go. So as you can see, this is as far as the corner will go in, so you have this blank spot on this side. I'll show you again on this side. pretty close. These blank spots here will have, there's a spacer that goes in to that location. So what I'll do as well, when I send this bar, I will get a hold of Waylon this afternoon, because I have this bar and 2 others actually that I need to get the F harnesses for. So the harnesses that come from here to the corresponding light heads, that actually makes a big difference when you go to program, because if you say, for instance, this is in the passenger and this is in the driver's side, that makes a big difference when you program it, because you think that you're flashing the driver when you're actually flashing the passenger side light. So we'll slide these duos out. I am really excited to see this project take off. We talked late into the night the other night about this build. We'll go on this side. No, this one was this side. Like so. So like I said, I'm not plugging anything in right now. I am just putting things together for a reference for myself and for Jeremy for his bar. So this is how the bar will be. There'll be spacers back here as well. These light heads, they just clip in. They have clips on either side, and you can take them out and change them around. So you get these buckets, and then you get these light heads. So on the dual light heads, you get independent control of either color. So this yellow wire is for the amber, and this blue wire is for the blue in this particular light head. So because this is all going to be blank, instead of having someone look in a really nice brand new lens and looking in and seeing all this wiring, these have the ability to put blank spots in. So I'm going to order some buckets and some blank spots for these to sit in the back. So we'll say Waylon, 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 Waylon all the way across the back, so you won't see any of this wiring at all. And then these will go into his other bar. So I guess this is the end of the first video, as long as I don't break this. There we go. And then they just snap in. So this is the end of the first video. So this is Project Rambide's bar. And I will get the F harness from Waylon so I can print that off for this bar. I also have a 43-inch bar that's also weak can. It's all solo. And I have a couple people that are looking at possibly getting it. And then the CHP bar that I'm building is going to be a complete duo bar. And the programming in that will be really cool. So it'll be, that'll be nice to go over how I set things up, my thought process of how I'm going to plug things in and program and all that. This bar, however, is actually really simple. You've only got 4 forward warning modules, the 2 corners, and the takedowns. Where it's going to be really interesting is the rear bar that's going to have the traffic advisor and the extra duo heads in the back. So this will be, I guess, part 1 of the Rambide weekend duo traffic advisor build. I will bring in the traffic advisor bar that will accompany this when it goes to Jeremy, and show you that as well. That, unfortunately, Jeremy's going to have to make his own wiring harness for, because he wants independent control of both light heads, and because on carbide and all of most of Waylon's traffic advisors, they are negatively switched. So what that means is you have a common positive that'll come to your yellow wire on all the light heads, and then basically the system will ground it out, and that's how you get the light heads to work. Whereas like a normal stuff, it's already grounded out, and you apply positive power, and that's how it comes on. Same concept, switch turned on and turned off differently. But then his warning modules that'll be in the back, the blue and then the red for his taillights, those will be positively switched. So he'll have to make a separate harness for that. But we've already talked about it, and he's already excited about it. Yeah, so we're both very excited about the build. So this is just a quick layout of how I start to put things together, and then I'll contact Waylon to get a hold of, say this says L5F, to know exactly which light head this one will go to. And because they build these bars, they build their harnesses to possibly go with any type of setup. So if, for instance, this is a total warning and you don't need takedowns at all, there are the plugs for them as well. Whereas this bar only has the two, I think just the 2 takedown wires and the 2 alley light wires. Yep. Whereas like the Legacy that I have and the Liberty 2, they have 4 takedown wires and 4 and then their alley lights. So there are 6 wires that come off of, or 6 plugs that come off of that harness to control the white lights in those bars, so you can have a lot of takedown. And I've had a lot of takedowns in those. This one, however, you'd have to make your own Y harness for these to work. So I'll go ahead and plug the driver in, then we'll plug the passenger in. So I know that these are done. I'll take some pictures of this, send it to Jeremy, and see if this is how he wants it set up. If not, then I can move things around. And yeah, so I guess the next video will be the rear bar that will accompany this, and as well as I'll go over the different harnesses that come from all of this big mess of wires over here. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you're from Facebook, thanks, and go ahead and subscribe, because part of the reason my YouTube has a lot of lacking videos recently is YouTube changed its rules on how people can try to make money off of YouTube. So I need to get my subscribers up. That's the only thing I need to get up. All my other numbers, my analytics that they look at to let you make money, I'm there. The content's there. They just want to have more subscribers. So I need to hit 1,000. So I'd appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. Even if you don't watch again, I still would appreciate you hitting that subscribe button, because there's this build that's going on, my CHP bar. I will do a whole series on the CHP bar that I'm building, the clone. The 43-inch bar, whenever I build that, that'll go up as well. I can also go over the ion inner edge that I built, how the thought process of that. A lot of my thought process comes from, I wonder if this will work, or this hasn't been done, I wonder if this will work. And until someone says it can't, or I try it and it can't, I'll try. So I've tried a bunch of different kinds of builds and stuff, and then once we're done with this bar and we get everything in together, and the lenses and all that stuff, we'll go over programming. So I'll show you some programming stuff for this bar, but I'll go over a lot of programming stuff on carbide and Cantrol and Smart Logic. And I think the first video is going to be describing the 3 different systems, how they're very, very similar yet very, very different. They're really nice advanced programming systems that go along with not only light bars, but the whole system in the vehicle as a whole. So you'll have this build, you'll have the CHP build, you'll possibly have the 43-inch weekend bar build, you'll have some Smart Logic programming, you'll have some carbide programming, you're going to have some Cantrol programming and showing people Cantrol if you don't have the program, which is kind of hard to get a hold of unless you have had Cantrol installed in your vehicle.